Hey, hey, this is just an audio test. Can you hear me okay? Is there any background noise? Okay, are you getting any noise in the background? Anything, any background noise? Man, I tell you what, Twitch's background noise correction is really something else, I tell you. I'll tell you why that is in a minute. Oh my gosh, this is like, it's like magic. Wow. Because let me tell you, I got some background noise right now. But if you guys can't hear it, then that is wild. Thanks, Jumbo. Okie dokie. Do you guys like my new sort of intro background? Right? I know. I love it. I dig it so much. Actually, why wasn't I full screen, man? I should have been full screen for this. Dang. Yes. Oh, and I got to refresh though. Hang on. Wait, what's refresh? What's the. Is it F3? Nope. Ah. Anything special happen when the thing hits the corner? Like the DVD menu? Yeah, that would be awesome. But let me tell you, we are gonna. This is a variation of what we're gonna build tonight, which is rad. Yeah, we are gonna build this thing. What's the hotkey to refresh in Chrome? Can somebody tell me? I don't remember. What's the refresh hotkey? Is it F5? Oh, there we go. Yeah, dig it, dig it. Yeah. So um, I know that a lot of folks are still on Rufio's streams, and I don't want anybody to leave their stream early. Um, so we're just going to kind of, I'm going to kind of ramble a little bit. Um, so yeah, we are going to actually build this what's playing on the screen right now. We're going to build a variation of it. Ours is going to be bouncing balls, and but I'll show you guys how to make this like this old like Windows pipe screensaver type deal. It's going to be rad, and it's not that hard, which is the awesome thing. Yeah, we're going to use a lot of the topics that we've talked about in class, such as constructors, objects, obviously, methods. We're going to kind of bring it all together, and it's going to be really freaking cool. I found this project online, and I was like, I have to do it. I have to do it. Okay, let me get the countdown timer off of here. Hang on. 2 seconds. Just got to delete the layers. Delete. Yes. And delete. Yes, and delete the countdown timer. All right. Okay. Oh, it's showing I have 0 viewers. That's awesome. I'm sure you guys are still there. I believe in you. All right, let's get out of this. I think it's F11 to close. It says 22. Yeah, my Twitch studio is glitching. Okay, we're gonna close this for now, and I am gonna get a new VS Code window open. Alrighty. And I'm gonna get a folder going. Ooh. Okay. Oh, raid is starting? Oh, snap. Okay. Well, oh, hey, getting some followers. What? Ah, and I just closed the awesome window. Okay, hang on, hang on, hang on. Let's open it up again. Hang on. All right. I want to show you guys the Technicolor wonderfulness while I'm getting set up here. Yeah, this is what we're going to build, y'all. We're going to build this. I'm going to refresh it again. There we go. Ah, thanks for the follows, guys. Oh my goodness. This is wild. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to build this using stuff we already know how to do, right? We know how to use objects. We know how to use constructors. Yeah. And we're also going to get to use some APIs. Well, one API, and it's going to be rad. Okay, hang on one second. I'm just getting the folder structure set up here, and then we'll be raring to go. Okay. Okay, got my folder set up. Gonna head back to VS Code here, and gonna open my folder. Hang on, you guys don't want to see that. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, Escarta, this will be a VOD, 100% VOD. It should be on my channel for 60 days because I'm a Prime subscriber, so that's rad. So yeah, you'll be able to access this VOD for 60 days. Okay. We're going to create a couple files here. And also, for those of you who are just joining, thanks. Oh, hi. Hello. For those of you who are just joining, we are going to build a Windows 95 style bouncy ball screensaver animated using just JavaScript. And it's going to be super cool. So glad to see you guys here. And we're also, this is a project too that's available online. So I'm going to build it here live, but you can also build it yourself on your own time and make your own version. So I'll share the link. And when we're done, I'll share the link and you can make your own version. So we're going to make our, oh, hi, Ciara, good to see you. Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm glad y'all are excited. Oh my goodness, people are redeeming stuff. I got to keep track. Okay, hang on. People, somebody just redeemed Stretch, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. I don't have a webcam, so y'all are gonna have to trust me, okay? All right, so I'm gonna make my HTML, and I'm gonna make my style.css and my main.js. Okay. And I'm also going to get my notes pulled up in my other window here. And then we will be ready to go. And I'll also make this a little bigger for you guys too, so y'all can see it a little easier. Okay. Appearance. Let's see. I'm trying to remember how to make the font bigger. Editor font zoom in. See, is that it? What? Oop. Oh, that's all right. Hey. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thanks for the hype train. Yeah. Edit font zoom in. See. Nope. That's all right. We'll just zoom in like this. Okay. Can you guys see okay? If I type some stuff here, can y'all see that? Just want to make sure everybody can see. Okay. Good deal. Thanks, guys. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make some very simple HTML, very simple CSS, and then we are going to get heavy on the JavaScript. Okay. So let's start. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way, and we'll get started with our HTML. Okay, thank you guys for confirming that y'all can see. Much appreciated. All right, so I've just got my head here. I'm also going to get rid of the let's see, get rid of that side panel there. Get rid of you. There we go. Much better. Okay, now we're going to create a body tag here, and then the special sauce is what we're going to put inside of it. So we got our body tag. We're going to have our H1. Oops, sorry. H1. And we're going to call it bouncing balls. Oh my gosh, thank you for the hype train, guys. And now this is where we're gonna get a little special. We're gonna put a new tag that you probably haven't seen before. Oh my gosh, Learn with Leon. Thank you, Leon. You gave 10 subs. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Wow. And just so you guys know, you're don't ever feel obligated to sub to me unless you really want to. Use your Prime sub if you want to use a free sub. But I mean, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm just doing this because I'm having fun. So, don't worry. This is not my day job. Y'all are great though. All right, Canvas. So we're gonna have a new tag in here, and we're gonna call it Canvas. Okay. And yeah, you're right. I did delete the end tag, but I'll put it back. Yeah, so we're gonna have a new tag in here called Canvas, and I'll tell you guys what that means in a minute. But that tag is probably something you've not seen before, but it's gonna be really important. So then the only last thing we got to do is we got to just put in our script, and we're gonna do our main JS for the source. Source equals main JS. And then we're going to have our closing body tag and our closing HTML tag that somebody pointed out. Very eagle-eyed person out there. Got it? Okay, now we've got it. This is all we need to do for our HTML. We're done. That's all we need. So we'll save that. We're just getting the boring stuff out of the way before we get to the cool stuff. And next, we're going to go head over to our CSS. Ooh, we got bits. Thank you. All right, now our CSS again is also going to be really. Oh, hang on. What did I miss? Did I miss something? Doesn't the source go inside the opening tag? Hang on. Did I get that wrong? Oh, hey, Mohammed. Yeah. No, I've got my. Oh, yeah, you're right. Source is in the wrong place. You guys are eagle-eyed. Man, I was just testing you this whole time, right? I was just testing you. All right, now our CSS. Again, we're just gonna have some real simple styling here, nothing crazy. We're gonna do most of the heavy lifting inside of our JavaScript. So we have the eyes of the tiger. Darn right you do. Farming engagement. That's right. See, I'm learning from Leon. I make all these mistakes intentionally so that you guys call me out, and then I get more, I don't know, clicks or views or whatever. That's right. Any misspellings are intentional. All right, so inside of our HTML and body, we're simply going to set our margin to 0. And inside of the HTML, we're going to declare our font family. I'm just going to copy and paste this part. And we're going to go with Helvetica because it's slick and hipster, and we're very cool people. So cool people use Helvetica. All right. And in our body, we're going to hide the overflow. And the height, we're going to say inherit. We're just going to grab that from the parent, which is the HTML. Leon, engagement is easy. Yeah, right? He's got it down to a science. Let me tell you, the man knows how to bring in the viewers. Okay, thanks for the follows, guys. I much appreciate it. My other screen is pretty small, so I have a hard time seeing sometimes when people follow me, but believe me, I appreciate you. My laptop is janky as heck, but we make do with what we got, right? It's literally dying. Okay, now in our H1, I'm just gonna grab some of this stuff and we're just going to paste it in so I don't waste time typing it. But we're gonna set our font size at 2 rem. Our letter spacing is gonna be, we're gonna just make the spacing slightly smaller, -1 pixels. Position is gonna be absolute. And now why did we do that? Because we don't want any text on the page interfering with our bouncy balls. We want the bouncy balls to be able to roam freely throughout the canvas and not interfere with anything else. Again, margin 0, and we're just sort of setting it in the position on the page where we want it to be. So top -4 pixels, right 5 pixels. So it's going to be in the top right corner. Okay. And then the last thing we're going to do, this is the cool part, is we are going to set the color to transparent. Now, why are we doing that? Because we're going to add a shadow. We want this to be like ghosty. We're gonna have ghost text. So it's going to be, we're just going to basically set the X and Y skew and I think this is like the glow, and then we're going to set it to white. So what this is going to do is it's going to just create a ghostly white text in the top right corner. And choo-choo, yeah. Transparent. Yeah, it should be your new favorite CSS color because transparency is cool and futuristic, and everybody should use transparency when they can. That's why Leon likes, remember, that's why Leon likes to use RGBA, right? Because it's got that extra transparency setting on it. Yeah, darn right. Okay, so we've got, this is our CSS and it's done. That's all we had to do. We set HTML, we set body, and we set H1. Now, let's get into the fun part. Okay. And for those of you who just joined, oh, can you show the HTML one more time? Yeah, there's hardly anything there. Really, it's just a standard head. And the real meat of it is right here. We've just got an H1 that says bouncy balls. And the important tag is right here, the canvas tag. Hey, Zenas. Or Zena, sorry. Hey, Zena, how's it going? Such short code. Surely you're not trying to submit this to Code Wars. Nah, I don't have that much brevity in Code Wars. My stuff's like 10 lines, and I go to solution, and somebody's done it in 2, and I'm like, geez. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that helps, Kasha. So we've got our CSS done, and now we're heading over the JavaScript. And really, as long as, no matter what you put in the HTML, as long as you have that canvas tag somewhere, you're going to be fine. Hey, Angie, nice to meet you. Hey, Sin. All right, now before we get started on this, let me pull up one more time. I'm going to pull up the end product of kind of what we're going for. So this is what we're going to build, and it's going to be rad. Okay, because I know some folks just tuned in, so I want you all to see this because we are heading back to the 90s. And how many of you guys remember the old Windows 95 screensavers? There was like the pipes and the maze and the aquarium with the fish in it. Yeah, that's trippy. I know. Yes, iconic. Ouch, my age. I'll tell you what. So when I was little, I was about 5 when we got our first computer, and it had Windows 95 on it. And my mom could park me in front of the Windows 95, the maze screensaver, where you start in the maze and you go through it and you like find stuff as you go through the maze. And she could park me in front of that, and I would just stay silent and watch it for like, I don't know, half an hour. Yeah, right? Same. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go onto YouTube right now and look up the Windows 95 maze screensaver, and you will not be disappointed. If screensavers were still a thing, I would be using it on my computer. Yeah. Okay, that's enough of that. This still works on me. Kids these days don't even know. Darn right. Did I think I was in the maze? I basically did. It was like virtual reality before virtual reality was a thing. Yeah. Oh, you were in your mid-20s when Win 95 came out, went to a midnight thing. The release was a huge deal. The CD has a video of Weezer's Buddy Holly on it. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, we just got a computer with Windows 95 pre-installed on it. It was a Packard Bell. You guys remember those? That was a brand. Oof. It was not a good computer. Oh, okay. Sharing Chrome Easter eggs? That's rad. It would have a big header that said "Don't clog the tubes," and it would have the pipe screensaver. Oh, that's so cool. Back in the day. Oh, they merged with Hewlett. Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering where Packard Bell went. Okay, let's figure out how we build this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take away the fun trippy screensaver. We gotta actually do some work to get it to go. Jeepers. Oh my gosh, Dervis, you just blew my mind. HP HP equals Hewlett Packard. What? What? Wow. You're blowing my mind. I had no idea. How late am I streaming tonight? So for you guys who have been on my streams before, they generally go pretty long, like 3 or 4 hours, but I don't plan for tonight's stream to be that long. I know a lot of you folks just came from Rufio. I was there too. It was a fantastic stream, and we got to keep something of a healthy balance. I don't want to keep you guys here for another 3 hours. Honestly, I don't want to speculate, but this is probably not going to take more than like an hour or an hour and a half to finish. It's really not that big of a project. As crazy as it looks, it's not that bad to do. So we'll take a break at around 9, and then we'll reevaluate from there. So I want y'all to be healthy. Okay, scrolling down. You don't mind the time, but this is fun. Oh, you've been working on a library for doing fancy subtitles in JavaScript. Very cool. Yeah. So, and now that we're getting into APIs, we are opening up a world of possibilities. So, Leon showed us a little bit in the last class about how we can call out, we can kind of call out to servers and get information that way. But there's also some built-in APIs that exist that the browser can just access as long as we call them in our script. Then the browser just says, "Oh yeah, they're using this built-in API. I can render that for you." And and Rascal, thank you for providing the VOD. Yep. And so in this case, we're going to use one of those built-in APIs, which is called Canvas. And what Canvas does is it lets you do 2D animations in the browser. Just you. No need to draw it yourself. The browser's going to draw it for you. Yeah, it's rad. Somebody's asking, am I 100 Devs alum? No, I am in the cohort with you guys, right in the mix, rocking and rolling along with you. Just a little background about me. I am actually currently employed as a developer, but I am a SQL developer, or SQL. If you don't know what that is, it's a database language primarily used for querying relational databases. Actually, only used for querying relational databases. So I do have a code background, but I don't have any kind of formal CS education. So my knowledge of coding is actually very limited to only what I know with SQL. Or structured query language. Yep. Yep. I'm not a DBA. No, I'm a senior developer. I don't run the database. I just code against it. Somebody wants to see the CSS? Yeah, totally. It's really nothing special. The CSS is just very simple. Did I self-teach SQL? Yes. I learned it on the job. I never took any classes in college. I got hired out of college, learned a little bit on the job, and then just kept learning on the job as I went. So all you folks who are worried about applying for a job and maybe you don't know all the languages, well, I applied for my first job and I didn't know any of the languages. So I learned everything while working. I have never taken a class on SQL. It's just, you just pick it up. Nope, no algebra. It's all about just being logical, being a logical thinker. Yeah. Are y'all good for me to switch off the CSS and go on the JavaScript? But yeah, I'm happy to answer any sort of questions that y'all have for me while we're doing this. Mine will. Some people in chat asked me to link the GitHub for my library. May I? Are you talking about the GitHub for the project that we're doing right now? I'm not quite sure what the question is there. Do I have to grind outside of work hours? Nope. I don't really like to spend too much time on SQL outside of work hours. I do plenty of research on the job, but I don't want to get burnt out. So this is what I do for fun outside of the job. Yeah. Okay. Go to JS. Cool. All right. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to set up our canvas. All right. So what do I mean by that? So if you remember in our HTML, we put a canvas tag, right? And so as soon as we start declaring variables related to canvas, and that opens up a whole new set of methods and functions that we can use that are related to drawing and animating things in 2D inside the browser. And the browser will just natively know what those are and be able to work with them. So pretty rad. And so we're going to set up our canvas, and this will give access to the drawing properties. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to declare a constant, const, and we're going to say canvas. Yep, and see it's already auto-completing for me here. And we're just going to say document.query selector, query selector, and we're going to call that canvas. Okay, so what this is doing is we're grabbing that canvas tag that I put in the HTML. And the next thing that we're going to do is going to tell us, basically just tell it, we're going to give it context. So const canvas, or sorry, const ctx is going to equal canvas dot get context, and that's a method, and the context is going to be 2D. Now you can see we have several options here. Oh, hey, Max Founded, how you doing? Good to have you here. Yep, Syndev is knows what we're talking about here. Yep. Now we got several options here, right? We've got 2D, we've got bitmap, we've got WebGL, and WebGL2. We are going to use the first option, which is 2D, because our Windows 95 screensaver, we don't need anything more than 2D. We are being old school here. If we wanted to get into 3D, we could use WebGL or WebGL2. But we're sticking with 2D. We're being old school because old school is cool school. All right. So we've got that out of the way. Just working and tuning in. Yeah, awesome. So now, Ivan, yes, I would consider doing coffee chats. I have done plenty of them in the past. If anybody wants to talk to me, send me a message on Discord. My username is exactly the same as my Twitch name and my Twitter name. Okay. You should be able to do. Yeah. I think let me try the command really quickly. If you do !Twitter, will that work? I don't know. There we go. Yeah. So you can do !Twitter anytime to get my Twitter. And it's literally the same as my Twitch name, and my Discord name is also the same. So it's all Mayan Wolf. Rip my DMs. I know it's happened before. It's all good. I don't mind. So yeah, I'm Mayan Wolf everywhere, so I'm easy to find. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we have our canvas declared now. So when we run this in the browser is going to know exactly where we want to draw our animation, right? Because when you think about a canvas, that's where you paint or that's where you draw. And so the browser needs to know where it's going to draw as well. So we're going to set our width and height for our canvas. So we're going to say const width is going to equal canvas dot width, and that is going to equal. So essentially, we're doing kind of a double declaration here, but we're setting the width of the canvas equal to the width of the inner width of the window. Okay, so basically the width and height of the window that you can see when you open the browser, that's what we're going to call our canvas. We don't want the balls going off the screen at all. So we're going to declare the height as only what you can see, which is called the viewport. Canvas dot height and height. Okay. Oh, thanks, Adora. Need coffee. Yeah. Well, we'll take a break around 9 and you can get some coffee then. Okay. So, Sindev, so if when I full screen in Chrome, it still does take up the full screen. So, right, the full screen function in Chrome, I mean, just takes away the scroll bars and the URL bar and the tabs and everything, and then all you got to do is just refresh the page again, and the canvas expands to fill the full screen. So it still works. Yeah, so context is essentially we're telling the browser what type of canvas library to use, because we've got there's several types of libraries we could use. If we were animating in 3D, we could use the 3D library, but we're just drawing 2D here, so we're telling it to, hey, just use the 2D library. Until then it knows, oh yeah, they're looking for like 2D methods and stuff like that. Okay, so the next thing we're doing is so here we set the viewport, and now we're going to start just declaring some functions that are going to make things easier for us later on. So if I've got a bunch of random balls bouncing around the screen, what might I use to generate a random number in order to set a random direction and size and color for those balls? Oh, and while you guys are answering that, I'm going to get the link to the project and I'll put it here in the chat. Yeah, math.random. You know your stuff. You got it. And I'm going to grab the link to the project and I'm going to drop it in chat once it slows down a little bit. Yeah, you guys are smart. We've done this in class, haven't we? They be knowing. That's right. Okay, I'm dropping the link in chat. Y'all can grab it from there. We're literally following along, but I'm going to explain each step as we do it, so you're welcome to follow along. Okay, so now y'all are right. We're going to declare this as a function, and so that way we can just call it later. And if you remember, Leon has said several times that we want to get to the point where our functions are clean, and our functions should really only do one thing. So that way we can call them over and over again later on in the project, and we can use them in a variety of situations. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So we want our random function essentially to return. Now, this is a little bit of a harder question. Does anybody know how I can get math.random to give me only whole numbers or only integers? What can I wrap my math.random in to give me only integers? What do I wrap it in? Oh, yeah, you're right. Good catch. Copy paste error. Thank you. What do I wrap it in? Math.floor. Yeah. Hey, Get Witchy. No worries. Hope you have a good rest of your evening. Yeah. Okay. Yep, you all know what to do. So we're gonna take math.floor, and that's what we're gonna wrap our math.random in. Now what that does is whatever random number we generate with math.random and the other mathematical operation that we're gonna put on the end of this, it's gonna round it down to the next lowest integer. Yeah, you have to floor it. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, from your Anki, you got it. Yep. And so what we're going to do here is we essentially want to generate a random number within a specific range. So in order to do that, we can do, remember we're passing in two numbers here. So essentially we're taking the range, so max minus min, and we're adding 1 since we're taking it to the floor. And then so that's going to give us basically a random number within the range that within the count range that we specify, but we still have to add the min to that. So because if we just did it without the min, the range would be the right size, but it would be too low. So this is a pretty standard sequence. So you might want to have this in your Anki if you don't already. Sindev, because because we're using the floor. So yeah, and that's right. Because we don't want it to ever be too low. Upgrading your Anki, yeah. Yep. Yeah, go for it. This is a good one to have in your back pocket, and it's look it up in MDN. You'll be able to find it there too. You don't have to take my word for it. All right, so that's our first boring function out of the way. Oh, Evo, this is just good to have because you're gonna want to generate random numbers a lot. And so if you just have the standard sequence to generate different types of random numbers, if you just have that in your Anki, you'll be able to access it really quickly. Yeah. Yeah, and it just depends on what type of range you want. Do you want the range to have 0 in it? Do you want it to not have 0 in it? In our case, we don't really want it to have 0 because we're going to be generating like the size of the ball and like velocity and that kind of thing. And so we want it to always be. We want the ball size. We want the ball to have a size, and we want it to have velocity. We want it to have you know, inertia, that kind of thing. So yeah, Rascal. So the question was, the random is inclusive of both minimum and maximum. Without the plus one, it's excluding the maximum. Yeah, um, because we're using the floor. Yeah. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to generate our random color, because remember when I showed you guys the balls bouncing around in the browser, they were flickering around between random colors. So we want to be able to generate um, a random RGB color. So we want to be able to generate a random color on the fly and do that quickly. Um, Sometimes things like this just need to be ran 1,000 times to see what it outputs, because who can really math? Exactly. I can't math. I'm a developer and I can't do math. And I think Rufio was saying the same thing. They're like, the computer can do the math for us. I mean, really, who needs it? Um, Now you need to know like the order of operations and stuff like that, but like don't get too hung up if you're not great at math. All right, so we're going to call our function random RGB, and we want to return from that function. Essentially, we want to just return a whole RGB sequence, right? So we're going to say, oops, I need the ticks. RGB. Yeah, Syndev, you could do that. But I'm sticking with, so that people can follow along. I'm going to stick with what's in the actual MDN project. You can absolutely, Syndev, if you modify that to do hex, I'm sure that would totally work. It is nice because with the RGB, because we can generate, instead of having to deal with letters and numbers, RGB works with just numbers, right? So we can just call our random function X number of times and end up with a full RGB value. So I do want to keep it so that people can follow along. So I'm not going to modify things here. But yeah, you can definitely tweak it to your heart's content if you want to mess with this project. There's a lot of stuff we can mess with later on. But while we're building the base stuff, I want to stay in sync with the MDN project. Don't want people getting too lost. So actually, I can just copy paste this. Why am I typing it out? Y'all don't need that. All right, so 3 calls to random. All right, and my tick, and yep, okay. So that function's done. We're almost done with the boring stuff. And now is where it gets interesting. So we are going to build essentially we're going to build a ball generator. Because you remember all those balls that were bouncing around on the screen? Random RGB is going to give us our color, Evo. No, it's not a dumb question. There's no dumb questions. There are no dumb questions. Um, if you remember all those balls that were bouncing around on the screen, they're all randomly generated. So if I like reload this, I never know what's going to pop up. They could be all different sizes. They're going to have all different angles. They're going to be all different starter colors. So essentially, we are going to build what's something that we can build that can generate a bunch of objects for us on the fly. What can we build that can do that for us? Yeah. Yeah, you all know the answer. Yeah. You got it. Factory. Yeah. Yep, the builder. Right. Exactly. Yep. So let's build a we're going to build a constructor, but we're going to wrap it in something new. And we're going to get to this in class, so don't worry about it. We haven't talked about this in class. You're not missing anything yet. But we're going to build something new called a class. Now, all this is it's just going to be a bucket that's going to hold our constructor and a bunch of related methods. Okay, so don't freak out. We just created a class. We're calling it ball. It's very similar to how we've built constructors in the past. And inside of that, we're going to put something called a constructor, which is what we know, right? We know what a constructor is. So we're going to put our constructor inside of this class, and then we're going to add things to it. Yeah, and there's some discussion about the RGB values. RGB values cap at 255 for each value. Yes, you're right. Yep, thanks for answering that. Okay, and so for our constructor, we're going to pass in several different values. We're going to pass in an X value and a Y value. Now, those are what's called coordinates. If anybody is familiar with like basic algebra, and so I lied, you do have to know a little bit of like just have a basic understanding of what coordinates are, but you can say the same for like a map, right? If you think about a map, you've got latitude and longitude on a map. And latitude and longitude refer to like the vertical distance and like horizontal distance, right? And so on a plane, on a canvas, so to speak, your x is going to be your horizontal coordinate and your y is going to be your vertical coordinate. Okay, so side to side and up and down. Now, math, right? X-axis, y-axis, exactly, yes. And now, why do we need that for our balls? Why might we need to pass in coordinates when we are constructing a ball? Starting position, exactly. Yeah, Dervis has got it. Dervis has got it right out the gate. Good job. Yeah. So, because remember, this is animation, right? So we're going to be drawing these balls over and over again. So we're going to need to pass in starting coordinates over and over and over again each time we redraw the ball. Seeking Truth. Yes, this stream will be available as a VOD on my channel. So you are welcome to catch it later. No worries at all. Yeah. Yep. And thanks, Rascal, for sharing the link again. Much appreciated. All right. So we're passing out our coordinates. Now, we're also going to pass in velocity. So velocity is our speed. Now, if you remember, each of the balls on the screen that I showed you, we're kind of traveling a different speed. They might not be moving at all, some of them. But we're going to pass in a velocity x and a velocity y, which is going to basically kind of control the speed and angle that they move on the canvas. We're going to pass in a color, and we're going to pass in a size. Those are pretty self-explanatory, right? All right, so then we're just going to basically set up our constructor. So this dot x equals x. Now, if we remember, this is essentially just referring to the ball object. Okay, so right now we're just setting up the object to have all of the properties that it needs. So pretty boring. This dot vel x equals essentially where each of the values on the right side of the equal sign are the values that we're going to be passing in. Okay, so each of these are going to be set to a property on the object. This dot vel y equals vel y. And we've done stuff like this before in class. When we set up the cars and that kind of thing, we pass in some arguments or some characteristics of the car, right? And then those get assigned to properties on the object. Size. Okay. Well, so compulsive, the thing is, it does require a little setup right now, but what we're doing is we're building a constructor, remember? So this is going to get called thousands and thousands of times. So we only have to do this once, and it's going to get called and called and called over and over again. So really, this is the easy way. Are semicolons and commas interchangeable in constructor functions? That's actually a really good question. So yeah, I just now noticed that in the in MDN they're actually using commas, or sorry, they're using semicolons. So I just kind of didn't even notice and went along with it. But that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. They might be. Somebody corrected me there on my terminology. Yeah, so we're passing in. So these are the parameters, and then we'll pass in arguments. Yeah, you're right. Yep. Are videos only available through Twitch or YouTube as well? Curious to go back on JS videos. Yeah, I have a bunch of JS videos still on my Twitch channel here. I have older videos on CSS, HTML. Basically, I've been streaming since pretty early in the class, but I've only recently moved to Twitch. So if you want to see some of my older stuff, go into House Hamilton or go into Women in Tech, and there are threads at the top of both of those channels. So click on the little hashtag icon at the top of the thread in Discord, or the top of the channel in the Discord, and look for the Mayan Wolf thread, and you will see my full list of older videos in there. So Rascal's talking about gamification of my Twitch chat. Nice. Yeah. Inline code is semicolons, but in JSON structure, they use commas between. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so we've set up our little constructor for our balls. Now, the next thing we got to do is we got to actually draw the ball. Now, so we have the properties, right? But now we need to actually draw the object. Okay, so we're going to create a new method here called draw. And this is where we can start to use some of the built-in methods that exist with the Canvas API. So we're going to preface our stuff here with CTX. And if you remember, CTX is what we assigned up here when we got our context. So when we say CTX dot whatever, the browser is going to know, oh yeah, they're using a Canvas command here. And that Canvas command can be sorry, I got a Teams message in my other window there. I got distracted. So CTX is going to let the browser know, hey, this is a Canvas method. I can find it. All right, I can find it on the Canvas API. So CTX dot begin path is basically going to tell the browser that, hey, we want to start drawing an object. So we're going to start drawing the shape. Okay. And then CTX dot fill style is going to tell us what kind of fill we want for our object. So what color. So essentially, we're going to say we want it to be full of this dot color. So whatever color we generate, we want it to fill the object with the color. Yeah, sorry, phone. Sorry if you guys heard that Teams notification. It's an after hours message from work. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually start drawing the circle. Okay, so we're going to use ctx.arc. Now, why are we using something called arc? Well, because a circle is essentially an arc that goes 360 degrees around, right? So we draw the arc. Where is it going to get the color from? You remember we had that function that we set up earlier called random RGB, right? So we're going to call that, and it's going to get the color for us. Yeah, it'll be passed in. Yep, and it's going to be passed in via the arguments into our constructor, right? So we're going to generate the color. We're going to pass it in as an argument into our constructor to build the ball, right? This dot color equals color, and that's going to get passed to the draw method. So we're kind of chaining things together here, right? We're creating our ball object, then we are using the properties of the ball and putting those into other methods. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so arc is going to be this dot x, this dot y, and that's essentially that's telling the arc where the center of the arc is going to be. So think about a protractor, right? You guys know what a protractor is? It's like a little tool that you can use to draw a circle, and you stick the little point of the protractor, or the compass. I'm sorry, I always call it a protractor, but like a drawing compass. You stick the point in the middle of the paper, and you spin it around that central point to draw your circle, right? And so that's what we're doing here. We're figuring out where we stick the point of our drawing compass, and we want it to be stuck on those x and y coordinates that we're going to pass in as arguments. Okay, so this dot x, this dot y, this dot size is essentially going to tell the circle how big to be. And the next one is going to be, let's see, I forget what this one is. Start angle number. I guess it's just it's if we're drawing an angle, it's so I think this is like we want to start at 0 degrees and then go all the way around to 360. And then the last thing we need to do is, so yeah, we're starting at 0, right? We're starting at 0 degrees, and then we want to go all the way around the circle, right? So you would think that you could maybe just type 360 and it would go all the way around, or maybe just 0 again and it would go all the way around. But unfortunately, no, because the this arc method uses radians. So you don't have to know radians. Just know that if you want to go all the way around, you got to do 2 times math.pi. And that's radians. So if y'all had like a graphing calculator in college, you remember you had to like set it from like degrees to radians to do certain problems, or radians to degrees. And if you had it in the wrong setting, you could really screw yourself up on an exam. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. Adds to Anki. Yeah, this is one of those things I don't know that you would necessarily want to memorize it. This would be the type of thing that I would probably just Google. Yeah, rads, tear face. Yeah. Ugh. So yeah, I would say I probably wouldn't bother memorizing this. This would be the kind of thing I would just Google, whenever I needed it. I don't think it's worth being in my brain space. But hey, that's up to you. Maybe you're going to be drawing a lot of circles. So the class, the class is going to hold far more than just a constructor. So it's going to hold a constructor as well as several methods, and they can all be associated with the ball, right? So with a constructor, you can have methods inside of your constructor, but in this case, we have a constructor and then additional methods that we're going to want to call separately. Yeah, and not much. Yeah, I mean, classes are new. We haven't talked about them in class yet, in Leon's class yet, so I wouldn't get too freaked out about it. From what I can understand, it's just like a big bucket where you can put multiple separate items, such as a constructor, other methods that you want to keep separate. Yeah. Oh, compulsive. Okay, so sounds like you did a little experiment there. You tried replacing the semicolons with commas and it didn't work. Okay. Yeah. All right, so that's our draw function. So now let's pause for a second and let's see what we just did. Okay. Oh, last thing. Sorry. Last thing we need to do is we also need to just command it to fill our new object. So we've drawn our object, right? We've drawn our circle. We need to just command it to fill the object with the color. Okay, so let's pause for just a second, and we're going to make sure that this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to get it going in the console. Okay. All right, so we don't see anything yet, and that's to be expected because we haven't called our draw method at all. Now we can call it in the console. This isn't what we're going to do when we actually, oh, hang on. I might have an error there. Can't access width before. Let me make sure I didn't make a mistake here. Const width, inner height. That looks good. Yeah, compulsive, that's going to make a circle. Yep, it's going to go all the way around. Do you mean window dot inner width? And oh, yep, you're right. Thanks, Rascal. I screwed that up. Yep, there we go. I typed that wrong. Yeah, okay. So that's what I needed. So I needed to correctly identify the window inner width and the window inner height. You are exactly right. Okay, now this shouldn't give us an error anymore. Okay, let me reload it. Oh, okay, it's all good. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna draw a ball and we're gonna make sure, we're gonna draw one ball and we're gonna make sure that it is going to work. So essentially I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna call our constructor, because we can do that. We can call it manually if we want to. So I'm gonna say const test ball. That's really small, I know, I'll make it bigger. Test ball, you can see where I've called it before. There we go. Const test ball equals, now if I wanted to call my, well, I guess it's being spoiled by the console right now, but if I want to call my constructor, I just say, yep, I'm going to call it to argue with it. You're exactly right. Oh, hey, Neuroplastics, good to have you. Yeah, window inner height reads the height of the window. Yeah, it reads the height of the available space in the window. So like what we call the viewport. So if y'all remember like some of the CSS stuff we did, we would use like VH and VW for our units in CSS, because that would take into account only the visible height of the window, right? So if you use like VH, it would only take in from like the bottom of the URL bar to the top of the taskbar. And so that's essentially what we're doing there. So we say const test ball is new ball, ball, and we're going to pass in our various values. So you can see here it's telling us what values we need to pass in, or what arguments we need to pass in. So we need to pass in an X value. So 50, 100, velocity. This isn't going to move at all because we haven't animated it yet. So we just need something to put there. So color, we can set this manually. We don't have to declare it as an RGB value. I'm going to say color is going to be red, and our size is going to be 20. Okay, Garland, see you later. Yeah, good having you here. You can catch the VOD later if you want. Okay, so we're declaring a new ball here. So we've declared that. Okay, now, why didn't it draw anything? Why don't I see anything? We don't silence by, we don't need it. The velocity X and velocity Y aren't going to do anything right now because we don't have any animation, we don't have any movement. We just need to pass in the arguments. Yeah, compulsive has got it. We need to call our draw function to actually draw it. So all we've done is created the object, right? So if I say console log test ball, yeah, you can see it's in there. But we need to call our draw method. So I'm going to say test ball, test ball dot draw. Okay. There we go. Hello. Look at the little ball. He's so cute. It's so cute. Yeah, so we can draw a ball. Good for us. Yeah. Isn't that neat? So just using that built-in draw method, we are able to draw shapes on the screen. Yeah. And this is just the beginning, right? Because we are going to make that shape move and bounce everywhere, like this. Yeah. So this is just the start. All right. But we have drawn a ball, and so we're going to end up drawing a whole bunch of them. But since we have our constructor, the constructor is going to draw the balls for us, right? We have our constructor, we have a method that can draw, we have a constructor that can put together the properties, we've got a method that can draw the ball for us. We don't have to do anything manual ever again. We are automating our lives, people. And isn't that the future? Everything's automated. Yes, It is the future. All right. So I'm going to close that, minimize this. I'm going to head back to our ball class. That's cool. Good ball. You looked at an open source code once and they used draw to make a representation of the night sky. It was really cool. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you guys, I think if you guys look at Sam Sycamore's blog, I think he's using like those types of built-in like draw. I don't remember for sure, but he was using something built in, really cool to just draw all the animations on his page. It was really rad. Like draw them in the browser. It was pretty neat. Anywho, so let's think ahead a little bit. Automate homework, yeah. So let's think ahead a little bit to when our balls are moving around. If you remember, think about like the old DVD screensaver and stuff like that, like when DVD players were actually a thing. There's a little DVD logo that would like bounce around, right? So what would happen when the little DVD player logo got to the edge of the screen? What would it do? Would it just go off the edge? It would bounce. Yeah. It would color change and it would reflect. Yeah. Yeah. So we need a method that's going to help us figure out when the ball is hitting the side of the screen and basically change its velocity so that it bounces off in a different direction. Bye, Evo. Yeah, I'll see you later. Yeah. We're going to bounce it off. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Dervis. Yeah. The website that renders the night sky using GPS and computer data. Oh, I remember. I think I've used that before. That's so cool. Yeah, right. Cool and depressing. Isn't that the state of everything nowadays? It's so cool and depressing at the same time. There used to be a word for that. It probably is in like German or something. Okay, so our next method that we're gonna declare here is going to be called update. This is going to determine if the ball is hitting the edge of the screen and what should happen when it does. Okay. Ennui, I suppose. Yeah. Will it hit the corner? Ooh, maybe. I think it could. Yeah. Yeah, it could. And then you get that magical sweet spot like the DVD logo where it would hit the corner perfectly. Just nestle right in there for just a second. Everybody cheers. All right. So we just want to say if the ball is so essentially if the ball is hitting the edge of the screen in like the X direction, like left or right direction, so like if it's hitting the side of the screen, then we want to essentially reverse the X velocity. So we'll fill in the if statement in a second here. But we're going to say if hits if hits left of screen, then oops, I should have used wrong kind of comment there. If hits left of screen, then essentially reverse the X velocity. So this dot velocity X, so we want it to stop and go the other direction, right? So this dot, so we essentially just reverse it. So if it's heading, if it's heading toward the edge of the screen actually, I think that might be the right side of the screen. If it's heading toward the edge of the screen and it's going to hit, then we want it to go the other direction instead. Round ball, square corner. All right. So let's fill in then what we want to say here. So, but okay, here's an interesting question. So remember that our X coordinate is essentially toward the middle of the ball, right? So we don't want the ball to go off the screen at all. So we need to think about protecting the width of the ball so that it bounces off before it starts to go off the edge of the screen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So not x is 0. We want it to not start to go off the screen before we bounce it back. Yeah, yeah. So we're going to essentially just say this dot x plus this dot size. So we got a little bit of a buffer there. This dot x plus this dot size, because that's already a property that we have, right? If that's greater than or equal to the width, and remember here, width is width is essentially like the width of the screen, so like the total width of the screen. So if the x coordinate plus the size of the ball is greater than or equal to that width value, then we need to send it back in the other direction. So essentially, this is if it hits the right side of the screen. I'm sorry, I mistyped that earlier. So this is if it's going to hit the right side of the screen, we want to bounce it back the other direction. Keep getting ball is undefined when you're trying to create a new test ball in the browser. Do you have all your constructor and your methods contained inside of your brackets? Do you have it contained inside? Maybe double check that your brackets are in the right place. Okay, so we've got what's going to happen if it's going to hit the right side of the screen. So what would we say? So we're going to say something similar if it's going to hit the left side of the screen. But what might we say instead of width if it's looking like it's going to hit the left side of the screen? This is kind of a tough question, but what could we say instead of width? 0. Yeah. We'll do the vertical in just a minute. But remember, we have to think about both the left and the right sides of the screen before we start to think about up and down. So we're doing left and right first, and then we'll do up and down. Yeah, you guys have got it. Yep, you guys have got it. 0, 0, 0. Yep. So before we did the max, like basically the max width, that's the right side of the screen. Now we got to think about 0. So now we're going to say if this dot x minus this dot size, so again, we're accounting for the size of the ball, is less than or equal to 0. So if it looks like it's going to go off the left edge of the screen, then we want to reverse it. So we're going to say the exact same thing. Because if the velocity here is negative, we're going to send it back the other direction and make that velocity positive. Width is the right side of the x-axis. Yep, 0 is the left side. Yeah, you're exactly right. Yep, yep. Yeah, you could do this with an OR operator, but you have to, I feel like this is maybe a little clearer because this is kind of a long statement. So yeah, but you could do this with an OR operator. Yeah, if you wanted to do both if you want to do the horizontal with one if with one if statement and an OR operator, and then do the vertical with another if statement, you could. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can make it more dry that way. Okay, so let me move my mic a little bit here. Oh crap! It's 9:10. I'm sorry, guys. We were supposed to take a break. Let's just finish this method here, and then we'll take a break. Okay? Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to do something very similar for the height. Oh, you had oh yeah, you got to capitalize it. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna do something very similar for the height. So instead of saying this dot x, what am I gonna say instead? This dot what? Yeah, this dot y. Yep. So we're gonna say this dot y again plus this dot size. And now instead of width, what are we gonna say? Greater than or equal to what? Height. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, yo got it. All right, height. Uh-huh. And this time we're just gonna to reverse the y velocity. So I'm just gonna copy paste this. Let's see. And now for our last if statement, and again, yeah, you could combine these also into one. We're gonna say if this dot y minus, because now we're doing the bottom of the screen. So before we did the top of the screen, now we're doing the bottom. So if I'm doing the bottom of the screen, what am I going to say? I'm going to say less than or equal to what? We did the top here with the height. Now what am I going to do with the bottom? Yeah, BSL. Yep. Yeah. Height is the top of the y-axis, and 0 is the bottom of the window. Yep. You're exactly right. Okay. And then we're just going to say the same thing there. All right. Now we're almost done with this guy. The last thing that we need to do, so the last thing that we need to do is essentially move the ball. And how we do that in animation terms is that essentially each time we redraw the ball, so for each frame in the animation that we redraw, we want to redraw it in a slightly different location, because that's how animation simulates movement, right? You just take something like a ball or like Bambi or something, and you redraw it in a slightly different position, lots of times a second, in order to make it appear like it's moving without actually moving. So with each frame, I want to take the existing X location and I want to add the velocity to it. Because that's what that's going to do is it's going to redraw it in a slightly different position according to the current velocity. So that's going to control how fast it looks like it's going. So something with a higher velocity is going to be redrawn farther away with each frame, right? It's going to be redrawn at a farther away location, and something with a smaller velocity is going to be redrawn, really close to the previous frame. Because again, we're just simulating movement here by drawing multiple frames. Yeah, the break is coming. We're almost done with this method. Just one more line, okay? And this dot vel y. So essentially we're just redrawing. Should we have a function collision? Yeah, we're gonna get to that later. Yep. We're gonna handle collision, but that's less important than actually making sure that the ball is able to move. Right now we're just creating the ability for the ball to move. For the same ball, I'm not sure what the question is there. Yeah, so essentially what we're doing here is what this update method is doing is it's saying check and see if the ball is going to hit the edge of the screen in any direction, whether that's the top, bottom, left, or right, and reverse the velocity if it looks like it's going to hit. So send it off in the other direction. Okay. And then what it's doing down here is it's saying for each frame in the animation that we draw, each time we redraw the ball multiple times per second, take the current location on the canvas, wherever that is, X and Y, and add the velocity to it to move it up, down, left, or right a certain distance. Because that's how we can simulate the motion of the ball. Are we using the same object? Yes, we are. Yep. All of this is all in reference to the ball. Yep. That's what's cool about the class is that we have a constructor and several different methods here, but they're all still working on our ball. That's all we're doing here. And that's why the class is useful, because it can hold the constructor and all these different methods and kind of keep it contained in the same bucket. Yeah. Okay. We can go over this again after the break. Let's we're going to take 5 minutes so you can get up and stretch. I'm going to get a timer going. And then when we get back, I'm going to try a raffle. I've never done one before, so forgive me. But if you come back after the break, we're going to do a raffle. Leon has graciously offered to raffle off, similar to Rufio's stream, to raffle off some of the 100 Devs t-shirts. So y'all get a chance to get a t-shirt if you would like one. Yeah, sweet. And all you got to do is just stick around a little longer. Yeah. Okay, let me get a timer going. And 5-minute timer. All right. And I'm going to reset it here. Okay, and go. See you back here in just a little bit. Okay, some folks are asking, what timer is this? Literally just Google like 5-minute timer or 10-minute timer, and it is the default timer that comes up as the first Google search result. It's literally built into Google. So it's one of those, It's one of those just standard built-in Google functions. So if I just minimize this, you can see like I Googled 5-minute timer and this is what came up. And it's really nice. And I really like it. So is it going to beep your world? No, I'm going to stop it before it gets to the end. I'm not going to subject you to that. We're going to stop it before it beeps. I don't like the beeps. I don't know about you guys. I don't like beeps. I don't like beeps. Doop. Stop. Yeah. You can also mute it here too. If you use this timer, there's a little mute button. Just FYI. Anti-beep. I don't like, yeah, I my alarm on my phone, I've got it set to something that is not a beep. It's like a little song. Beep boop. Yep. You guys are funny. Okay. Here's a little ball that we drew earlier. All right, let's try and do a raffle. Yeah, I haven't started the guys. Hang on. I haven't started the raffle yet. Chill. All right, 2 seconds. Hang on. I got to start the raffle. Are you doing the animation with P5JS? We're doing it with Canvas API. I don't know what P5JS is, honestly. We're just doing it with the built-in Canvas API. Yep. Okay. Yep. 2 seconds. I'm gonna get it going. I'll tell you when it's ready, so nobody's gonna miss out. And my cat is here too. He wants to be in the raffle. So I've never done this before, so forgive me if I screw it up, but we're gonna try our best. Okay. So create and okay, the raffle should be going. You can type exclamation point raffle, and you should get a whisper. Okay, yeah, I think I see the entries going in. You should get a whisper after you enter, and I'm seeing the entries tick up, so it seems to be working. Yeah. So we're gonna run this for let's say until 9:30. That should give everybody plenty of time. I'm gonna keep talking. Yep, awesome. I'm gonna keep talking, but we're just gonna let that go. Yeah, and we're gonna draw 2 entries. Leon has graciously offered 2 shirts. I thought about doing the last entry at the end, but I don't want to force y'all to stick around until the very end. I know it's late for a lot of folks. So we're going to do 2 draws. All right, so I see... Sasha, you might have to scroll up. It was going to buy pretty fast there, so you might have to scroll up through the chat to find it. Baffle. Yeah, Ryan, that's got to be careful. There you go. Yeah. Make sure you spell it right. Okay. So we're going to give folks a little bit longer, but let's go through, let's go back through and review. Oh, thanks, Dervis. Yeah. So let's go back through and review what we did real quick, and then we'll keep going. So essentially what we did is we set our canvas, which was related to an HTML tag. And it told, essentially, we kind of initialized our canvas. We said we wanted to draw on our canvas in 2 dimensions, do 2D animation on our canvas. and we set the width and height of our canvas, and we set that to the inner sort of viewport on our screen, so the visible part of the screen. Then we declared some functions to generate random numbers. And we basically just did this to make it easier to, so we didn't have to type this whole thing every single time we wanted to generate a random number, because we're going to want to do that a lot. So we set random min max to this whole long string, and that's going to basically just generate a random number between the minimum value and the maximum value that we pass into it. Yep, made the code dry. You're right. Yeah. These are functions that we're going to call a lot, so we want to make sure that we just kind of make them short and sweet, right? The next function is going to be random RGB, which is going to generate a random color, essentially, on the RGB spectrum every single time we call it. It's just going to generate a random color using, and now this is kind of cool. We didn't talk about this earlier, but random is used in here, right? So we're using our random function within random RGB, right? We're calling random 0 to 255 within our other function, random RGB. So nice and dry there. Yeah. So Sasha, you can type raffle again and see if it works. I can see it's definitely adding to the total. Yeah, there's about 2 minutes, and then I'll make a draw. Folks are still getting in, I see. Oh, that worked. You must have spelled it wrong. Yeah, it could be. If you're concerned whether you got an entry or not, you can always try again. But yeah, so we have these are just our workaday, functions that we're just going to call over and over again. So we got all those out of the way. And the next thing that we did is we started building our ball object. And our ball object is going to have, or our ball class is going to contain several different items. The first thing is the constructor that's actually going to build the ball and give it various properties. And then the next are methods that are going to use those properties to perform various actions on the ball, right? Now, is it letting you enter more than once? Oh, sorry, this is my first ever raffle. You can feel free to, if everybody gets 4 entries, then I don't know. You say cheating, I say optimizing. I literally just installed MooBot before this stream, so I apologize if there's. I thought I had it all configured properly. I think it's still at 1. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought I only had it set to 1 for everyone. Random is the same as math.random silent. Yes, it is, because we made it the same as math.random, right? You see up here where we said random min max. We declared this function to use math.random to return the result of math.random. So that way we don't have to type math.random every single time and all this garbage, right? We just declare and said, hey, I want this function. I want to pass in a minimum, maximum, and I want to get the result of this whole calculation. Okay? All right. Looks like we're wrapping up here. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the raffle. Oops. And make sure that everybody's in. Oh, I guess I never announced that the giveaway was open. There's a way to do that. Big bucks, no Rammies. Katra is your favorite from She-Ra? Yeah. She's pretty cool. She's my desktop if y'all didn't see. Uh, 15, okay. Looks like We're about done. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get back to my giveaway here. Sorry, hang on. Giveaways. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the draw. Oh, somebody redeemed something. Okay, I stretched. Probably heard my shoulder pop. Ouch. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and do the draw. I'm locking it. Okay, and I'm gonna draw an entrant. Oh. You guys are never gonna guess who I got. I got Leon. I drew Leon. No, I legit drew Leon. Okay, hang on. We gotta, I'm sorry, Leon. We gotta draw somebody else. All right. That's wild. Oh my gosh. All right. Draw again. All right. May DLC, MAYE underscore DLC. I'm going to announce that. Yeah. Okay, so May underscore DLC. I'll message that to Leon, and if you could also send Leon a mod mail, that'd be rad. Yep, May underscore DLC. So, and if, yeah, congrats. Okay, let's do one more. Next draw is going to be James Pro Dev. James Pro Dev, and I'll announce that so y'all can see. James Pro Dev. Yay! Oh, and I see Leon is here, so I don't need to message him. It looks like he's paying attention. So, yeah, seriously, James, you. Good job, James. Yeah. So, and I'm sure there's going to be other folks. If you didn't win tonight, there's going to be other folks joining the stream team, and I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for raffles. And Leon's going to do more merch drops in the future. So, you just want a chance to buy one. I know, me too, man. Yeah. Those are sweet. I want one. I would love one with the logo on it. That would be rad. Like the Learn with Leon logo and like a 4-color screen print or something. I used to work in garment printing. Screen prints are awesome when they're done right. Sell your bootleg one. Yeah, make one in your garage. Yeah. Somebody draw one with Sharpie. That'd be great. Yeah, there'll be more. Okay. Somebody's gonna start selling bootlegs that are like, printed out and drawn in Microsoft Paint. Yeah. Don't buy them from Leon. Do it right. 99. It's called 99 devs. Yeah. Right. Leon. Okay. I'm glad Leon finds it funny. Oh boy, Leon, you seeing this? We got a whole pirate industry popping up. Grassroots bootleg T-shirts. It's like the PS5. When there's not enough supply and there's too much demand, you're gonna get that. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do the real stuff that we came here for, right? All right. Got to get back to my window here. Wrong one. There we go. Okay. All right. Back to it. So we were going down through. We just got to our class. We're just doing a quick review of what's happening here. So we went back down through our class, and essentially what our class is doing is the first thing it has is a constructor. Okay, yep, we're in the factory. You're right. Yeah. And so our constructor is taking in, it's got, we've set up several parameters here so we can take in multiple arguments, right? So we're taking in coordinates, we're taking in velocity, how fast the ball is moving, we're taking in the color and the size of the ball. Okay, and so all that's going to do is every time we pass in like arguments later on, it's going to just set up our object just over and over and over again. And we're going to be doing this multiple times per second. Once we get into the animation, we're going to be doing this multiple times per second so that our ball looks like it's bouncing around, right? That's why we set up the factory. The next thing we're doing is we set up this object, but unless we actually draw it, we don't see anything, right? And we saw that when we went into the browser, and we set up a new ball, right? And it ran through the constructor and it assigned all these properties, but it didn't show up until we actually called testball.draw, right? And what that does is it actually starts using the methods that we have available to us through Canvas. And essentially we said, start drawing, fill it with a color, draw an arc that circles all the way around at the coordinates that we specified, and make it as big as we said it needed to be. So make it a certain size at a certain location, and then lastly, fill it with the color that we specify, right? These are canvas? Yeah. The CTX, when we preface it with CTX, that's the context. And that's what we set up all the way back up here. So we said CTX equals, essentially a 2D. We're trying to do a 2D drawing here. So that canvas.getContext 2D gives us access to all those methods in the Canvas API that allow us to do this drawing stuff. So CTX is going to be saying, yep, it knows when we say CTX dot whatever, the browser says, oh yeah, you want to use a canvas method. Okay, we're going to draw with that. And ray tracing, not that I don't got a GTX 3080 in this in my little laptop here. Unfortunately, I wish. Hello there. What are we doing today? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. We are doing not this. We're doing this. Woo! We are making this super funky Windows 95 bouncy balls. Yeah. They are rays. Yep. They're rays. Yes, because they're lines radiating outward from a point, right? They're just balls, and they do simple tracing in straight lines. Exactly. Yeah, it's old school ray tracing. Yep. So, well, that's what we're doing. Oh my goodness, Dervis is getting fancy there with the math terms. I'll just trust you on that one. Okay, so we first we set up the properties of our ball using a constructor. Then we drew the ball. The next thing we need to do is to make sure it's able to move, right? So if the ball is heading toward the edge of the screen in any direction, whether toward the left or right of the screen, toward the top or bottom of the screen, basically if it's going to hit a wall at any point, we want it to bounce off, just like the little DVD logo from when you were in high school, and DVDs were still a thing. It would just bounce off the wall, right? Well, naturally, the ball doesn't know that it should be bouncy. It just, that's not an inherent property. So we have to say, if you're going to hit the wall, reverse your velocity. So in both the X and Y direction, if you're going to hit a wall, if you're going to hit the left or right of the screen, go in the other direction horizontally. If you're going to hit the top or the bottom of the screen, go in the other direction vertically. Okay? And then the last thing we want to do is we want to simulate the ball moving by essentially adding the velocity in both directions, X and Y, adding the velocity to the existing position on the canvas. So if my ball starts out at 0, 0 on the canvas, at coordinate 0, 0, top left corner of the canvas, we can simulate movement every time we draw a frame let's say it has a velocity of 4 in both x and y. Each time we redraw the frame, we're going to add 4. So the next time we redraw it, it's going to be at position 4, 4, and then 8, 8, and then 12, 12, et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to simulate it moving down from the top left corner of the screen because we're changing the x and y coordinates of the ball each time. So we're simulating that downward diagonal movement. So that's all we're doing here is each time we redraw it, we want it to be at a different location on the canvas, which is going to simulate movement. Okay? That's where we ended before the break. Okay, so we are going to add collision detection, but we're going to do that last. We want to finish with the essential stuff first. Oh, good, Silent. Okay, awesome. So any other questions before we keep going? So if you're following along, you might be like, no, they didn't add collision detection, but we're going to do that. We're going to do that last. That's the least important out of everything. Good, Silent. Yeah, Floyd, Silent. Awesome. Yeah. That's my goal. My goal is to essentially take stuff that looks really complicated at first glance and break it down into more digestible parts for you. So even if this is not something you can necessarily code from scratch, I want you to at least understand what the individual parts are doing and how they make sense logically and fit together. It's like Leon says about the Legos, right? We don't necessarily need to know how to make a Lego brick from scratch and how to mold the plastic and everything. But as long as you know how to stick them together, that's really all that matters for now. Exactly, One Daily. Yeah. This is why I love this project because it ends up with a cool result and we're using stuff we've talked about in class. Speaking of which, the next thing we're going to do is an array. What? We're going to declare an array called balls. All right, and it's going to be empty just for now. Yeah. Okay, and we know about arrays, right? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we want to have a certain number of balls on the screen at any given time. So when we refresh the page, we want those balls to just pop in, right? And so we can control how many, like the balls that we have on the screen and their attributes. We can control that through an array. So I could say like so essentially I'm going to say however many balls I want on the screen at any given time. I can say like while balls dot length is less than, I don't know, let's say 10 for starters. And we can adjust this as needed based on how it looks on the screen. You hated 2D arrays in college? So did I, Jason. Yeah, because I only ever used them in like the context of math and yuck. But now that I'm actually using them in code, it's a lot. I can see their usefulness versus just doing them in math and like, I don't know, what were they in, like calculus or whatever? I don't know. It was garbage. Sorry, math folks out there. I was a stats major and I didn't enjoy it. But I know there are folks that genuinely see the beauty in that, and I don't want to disparage that at all. It just wasn't my thing. Okay, so constant. So the next thing we're going to set is we're going to set a variable for the size. Const size is going to be a random number. We can set it between, I don't know, we'll say between 10 and 20 for now. We can change this later. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to start building out our array and filling it with balls. I'm sorry, Lee. I hope I'm not offending you. Like I say, I was a stats major. It was my mistake. I shouldn't have done it. So if you're in college right now and you're not enjoying your major, do consider changing. I would have changed if I'd have been smarter. It just wasn't for me, and that's okay. But I do admire people who can genuinely see the beauty in pure math. That's awesome. All right, so now we're going to start filling our array with balls. So we can generate as many balls as we need to by calling our constructor that we set up earlier. So new ball, And we're essentially, what we're going to do is we have to pass in, now we get to pass in finally our arguments. So we can see that it's giving us the arguments that we need to pass in, right? So we need to pass in the starting coordinates. This is going to tell us where the ball is going to start out on the screen before it starts moving. So when the user first refreshes the page, it's going to start out at coordinates X and Y, right? So we can start it at random, and we're going to start from 0. But if I try to just start it at 0, there's a potential that it could generate at the true 0 coordinate, which would start it halfway off the screen. So we want to say 0 plus size to make sure, to give it a little buffer so it doesn't have the ability to possibly generate partway off the screen. Yeah. Yep. Forgot so much math because I didn't know about Anki. Yeah, right. Me too, man. Yeah. I forgot so much in college. I wish I would have known about Anki. And Compulsive said the same thing. So many stats classes. Yeah. I gotta say, I'm glad I went to college. But I don't think I've used anything from my major, honestly. So anyway, sorry. So remember, our random function takes in, a random method takes in 2 arguments, min and max. So we're passing in min is going to be basically the size is the smallest that our x value could be. And then the largest should be width minus size, right? Because we want it to be, so anywhere on the x plane. So I'm gonna to make this a little easier to follow, I'm going to put x coordinate, right? So our x coordinate can be anything from the left side of the screen with a buffer of the actual size of the ball, and then the right side of the screen with another buffer of the size of the ball. So that way it can't generate halfway off the screen. And it looks like One Daily shared something cool there. Is that your link to the ball project too? All right, and then we do the same thing for the y coordinate. So random, again, random. And so for this one, what am I gonna, so can anybody help me fill in the random function for the y coordinate? Okay, so I'm gonna note this is gonna be the y coordinate, right? So what are my 2 arguments I'm gonna pass in for y? Can anybody tell? So for x, we did 0 plus size, comma, width minus size. And then what are we gonna do for y? Yeah, look at you guys. Look at you. Y'all know what you're talking about. Yeah. Y'all got it. Yeah, exactly. Right? Because y starts at 0 as well. So we're going to say y dot size, or y plus size, and height minus size. Exactly. Yeah. So that's going to generate the starter coordinates. Okay. Now the next thing that we need is, whoops. After that, we need the velocity. So for the velocity, we can kind of tweak this a little bit depending on how fast we want the balls to go. I think in the example in the MDN, it has them going from like -7 to +7. But you can get creative with this. You could have it go from like 0 to 10, or 1 to 4 or something like that. I think in the example that I showed you guys, I had to go from 1 to 4, just because I didn't want any of the balls standing still. Because if you have a velocity of 0, and if you have a potential velocity of 0, you could end up in either direction, really. Like you could end up with the ball not moving at all, or just moving directly left and right and not moving up and down at all. So you don't get any of that cool angular motion. So I think in my version, I have it being like 1 to 4. Yeah, so 0, it would be 0, 0, right? And so if you think about that, oh, I forgot the comments again. I'm not sure where I forgot a comment, but you let me know where you want to comment and I'll put it there. And the reason I have that you forgot the comments, again, channel point reward, is because when I'm doing homework problems, I very often go on to the next problem, forget to comment out the previous problem, run it in the browser, and get an error. So yeah, that's a very common problem, as my regular viewers may know. Yeah, so 0, 0, what that's going to do is if 0, 0 gets generated, it's going to essentially, the ball is going to get drawn with its initial x and y coordinates, and then the velocity, there's no velocity to add to those coordinates, so it's not going to move. What's the next one's on you? That one, if you click it, there should be if you click on that one, there should be a little description, but I'm happy to tell you. So if you save up enough channel points, you get to determine what my next stream is going to be about. And it could be, within reason, it can be about anything that you want. Yeah. And I'll tailor the stream around whatever topic you want to talk about. But that's kind of a lot of channel points, so good luck. Watch somebody get it. All right, so this is going to be velocity x, and then again, we're going to do velocity y, same thing, 1 to 4, just to make sure we get that nice angular motion. Velocity y. Redeem the IRL word ban on the word ball. Oh man, you guys, that would, oh man, that would be devious. And then the very last thing we're going to do is we're finally going to assign the color. And like somebody asked earlier, well, how do we get the color? We declared a function to do that, right? We declared random RGB way back in the day that will generate us a random RGB color. So assign color. And then the very last thing is going to be size, which we previously declared. Yeah, and exactly, compulsive. That's why. Yep, we're really taking advantage of the random function. It is getting used over and over and over again in a lot of different contexts, right? And that's why, as Leon says, you want your functions to really only do one thing so that you can keep recycling them over and over again in different ways. Intelligence, yeah. Dervis, what did you say? Why not generate a function for velocity that calls random until it doesn't get a zero vector? I mean, yeah, you could do that. Yeah. I mean, it might just be easier though you could even do like a little if. You could even do like a little if statement that or specify the range in the random function so that it make an if statement that is not going to allow for 0 to be returned. Yeah, and that's why I think what you're saying is generating a function for velocity that calls random until it doesn't get a 0 vector. Yeah, you could do that. How many balls will we get? Well, we set the length of our array right now, we set it to less than 10. So what it's going to do is it's going to fill up, because we have a while loop going here, right? We have a while loop. And so it's going to fill the array and keep generating balls, because we're using our constructor to generate balls. So while that length is less than 10, it's going to keep making balls. But we could change this value to be anything we wanted. I would suggest not making it too big, because your browser might start to chug. But yeah, you can definitely increase the amount. And once we're done with this, we're gonna play around with it a little bit, and we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and see if we can break it. Keep it under 16,000 or so. Oh my gosh, why am I getting work messages at friggin' 10 p.m.? That's not okay. Don't. Yeah, I'm not reading them. I'm not doing it. Yeah, don't read your work messages after hours. Do we need to decrement that after this while loop? What are we going to be decrementing? We don't need to really decrement anything, because we're at the balls are essentially like our incrementer, right? We add balls to the array, and it's going to keep checking the length of that array. So we're saying while that length is less than 10, well, we add more balls, we keep adding more balls, and so when it hits 10, it's going to stop. And so the last thing we're going to do is essentially we're going to do our increment, right? We're going to say, what do I want to do if I want to, what would I say if I want to add something to the end of to the end of an array? What would I use? If I want to add something to the end of an array. Oops. Yeah. Push, push, push. Yeah. All right. So each time we build a ball, we're going to add it to the end of our array, and then we're going to loop back to the beginning. And whether we say less than or equal, it doesn't really matter. In this case, we don't have to be specific. You could say, whatever. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. Push it real good. Yeah. Still trying to remember pop, push, shift, unshift. Yeah, that's why I asked the question. Just because I feel like it's good to to just keep cementing these things in your brain, right? Yep. Also, too, I'm just going to scroll back up here. I was just checking really quickly to make sure that I didn't miss any channel points or rewards from folks. Oh, sorry, Mike Beast, if you're still here. I missed a hydrate, but I did do it during the break. So I appreciate you. Got some stretches. Don't worry, I've been stretching. Yeah. All right. Cool. It'll be indexed as 0 to 9 in the array. Yeah. In this case, though, I mean, it's just balls on the screen, right? We don't really care. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, it will be indexed as 0 to. It'll be indexed as 0 to 9, so 10 units. But it's just balls. It's no biggie. How many we've got? So last essential thing we need to do, I suppose, is actually now what we need to do is we need to animate it. The last piece of the puzzle is we're going to do the drawing. So last thing we're going to do is we're going to declare a function that is going to loop the animation. Woo! Finally got there. Golly gee. All right, so we're going to have a loop function. And what that's going to do is we're going to have a for loop that's going to go around and it's going to repeatedly call the draw, update, the draw and update methods. And remember, draws the object, updates its position with the velocity and bounces it off the walls, right? And so that's actually going to make it look like it's moving. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to say for const ball of balls. We're going to loop through the array, and we're going to call ball.draw, ball.update, and then we're going to add collision detection in a minute. But I want to do this first, and then we'll test it, and then we'll come back and we'll add collision detection. And the last and most crucial thing that we need to do is we're going to do something that's called requesting. We're going to request a new frame be drawn. So request animation frame. What this is a built-in function that's going to essentially say, hey, I want to draw a frame of animation, and in order to do that, I'm going to call my loop function. So, typo. Oh, good catch. Update. Yeah. All right. So, and I wonder if this will. We'll see. It may not work without the semicolons, but I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't. Well, we'll try it either way, right? Worst we can get is an error. For each, maybe, yeah. Oh, yeah. And somebody mentioned that. You're just a bit ahead of me. I was going to ask the question, what do we call it when, we declared a function called loop, right? But then inside of that function, We're calling loop again. What is that? Dervis answered it, but I want everybody else to think about it too. We're calling the function from inside of itself, right? So each time loop runs, it calls the next iteration of itself, right? So we call that recursion. And so what this is doing is it's essentially creating an endless animation, right? Yeah, recursive, recursive, recursive. Yeah. Yep. Y'all got it. And so what this is doing is it's creating an endless animation, because if we go back to that browser window, it's still going, right? It never stopped. And so that is all being powered by this bad boy right here. Draw, draw, draw. Yeah. Now, if I run this right now, moto perpetuo. Yep, perpetual motion. Exactly. Yep. Well, it's not necessarily nested. It's recursive. So I mean, it is inside of itself, but it is specifically recursion. Anti-chaotic. Always love to see examples of recursion in the wild. Absolutely, and that's why I really love this, because when I was reading about recursion and learning about recursion, I was really having a hard time picturing, like when am I ever going to use this? Like recursion, like why? But I feel like this is a really great example of this is what recursion can be for. We're just creating an endless animation this way, built in. Yeah, sorry. Is request animation frame a built-in function or a function we're about to define? Nope, it's built in. Yeah, yeah. The call stack for endless recursion. I don't even want to know. I probably shouldn't be leaving that animation running. Doesn't help that recursion is usually slower than iteration. Yeah, I don't know about the efficiency of this particular implementation, but I probably wouldn't have like 5,000 balls running for 6 hours or something like that. That might not be the best idea, but it works. Okay, and then the very last thing we need to do is, so this loop works, right? Because it calls itself. So we have kind of like a chicken and the egg situation, right? So, it calls itself and it runs, and it calls itself and it runs. But what's the last thing we need to do in order to make this work? In order to make this function work? Can anybody get it? This is a hard question. Call it. Yeah, y'all got it. I shouldn't have said it was hard. That was easy peasy for you guys. Yeah, so that we need to initialize the loop for the first time. So the first time that the user refreshes the page, we want the loop to start, and after it starts, it will never stop. Yeah, Rascal. Somebody must have asked. I didn't see that. Somebody asked, "Oh, can you explain const ball of balls?" Yeah, that's a for of loop, and Rascal shared a link there that explains what that is. So you can click that link and you can see what it is. Yep, and it goes through each element of the array or string or whatever. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. Yep, you explained it as well. Yeah. Yeah, and for of loops are really nice because you don't have to say like you don't have to do all that extra typing that you would for like a regular for loop, right? It just knows to loop through the elements in the array. So it just knows when I get to the end of the array, I stop. Yeah, that could be too. Yeah, I don't know the specifics of like memory allocation and that kind of thing. It could be that it's smart enough um, to to drop older stuff. I don't know. It works. Good deal. All right. Well, I haven't tried it yet. I also haven't saved in like an hour, so glad my computer still works. Okay. Yeah. So I just saved. Let's go back and look. Hey, check it out. So I'm gonna close this. This is the original. Let me make sure that I got the right window here. I think I did. I think this is the right window, but let's make sure. So I'm gonna initialize it again here. I call it boundy ball. I can't even spell bouncy right. Jeepers creepers. All right. Gonna go live again here. There we go. Yep, it works. Yay, hooray. Yeah, and notice there is kind of a cool, since we don't have any kind of collision detection, there's a really cool kind of like intersecting effect that we get because the colors stay static, right? So they overlap and you get like a basket weave effect. It's really cool. That's why this project is really fun to just change the settings on and see what you get. But let's add a couple of different. Oh, hey Lee, oh, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's a screensaver, right? That's what I was going for, is that Windows 95 feel. And even the color choices here, the random colors that it generated are very like early 90s, when everything was like pink and teal and purple. And I remember I had a lunchbox in first grade that had a dinosaur in sunglasses and a backwards baseball cap riding a skateboard. It was like a T-Rex riding a skateboard, wearing sunglasses and wearing a baseball cap. And it was like there was a bunch of triangles, and it was the most early 90s thing on the planet. It was amazing. I wish it was still around somewhere. The Sizzler wave pattern from the paper cups, exactly. Yeah. And these are all random too, like memes. These are just randomly generated. So this is perfect. I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Juicebox Hero. What? Hey Juicebox. Hey. Welcome, guys. We are just admiring the fruits of our labor. Look what we made. We made this super rad animation that we are invoking the spirit of the 90s with our bouncing ball animation. Um, and it looks super sexy. And we did it in JavaScript using the Canvas API. All right. Bye, Cosmic. Hey, Juicebox Hero. Good to see you, friends. Yeah, I think my laptop is like groaning under the weight of this animation actually now. Let me close this one. But yeah, so we have made a beautiful animation using the Canvas API in JavaScript only. No special tools, just Canvas. It's native to the browser. Browser knows how to interpret it, and you can make really cool stuff and basically make a Windows 95 screensaver. I love it. So let's keep adding a little bit more to this. Although I think this is pretty much perfection, but we're gonna add a few more things. How to get the long trails? Essentially, we're fudging it a little bit. So I'm going to show you why this is happening, and you can choose whether or not you want to enable it or not. So when you do your own version, you can choose whether or not you want to have these endless trails or whether you want these to actually be balls. Okay, so let's minimize this. And I'm sorry, are you guys getting some background noise now? My laptop fan is crapping out. Let me know if you are. All right, so last thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the top of our loop function here. And yeah, Rassel's got it. So essentially what we're doing is we are, time to smack the laptop again. All right. Thanks, Juicebox. Much appreciated. Yeah, go enjoy your time with your dog. I loved your stream when we rated you last time. You're so funny. Love you. All good in audio. Okay, good deal. So essentially what we want to do is we are essentially what the reason we saw those trails was like the result of improper animation, because each time we animated a frame, we weren't clearing the old frame off of the canvas. So if we were doing this properly, we would be wiping the screen each time and clearing the previous frame, and then drawing a new frame. So let's do that. I like the other look better, but we're gonna do it right. So we're gonna cover the previous frame by saying fill style equals, and we're gonna essentially just fill it. We're gonna blank this. We're gonna blank the screen, and we're gonna say RGBA. So RGBA 0, 0, 0. We're gonna say 0. Let's say 0.3 for starters. And And what this is going to do is it's going to create a slight transparent wipe of the screen. So the balls are going to have a little bit of a trail, but it's going to be mostly wiped. So let's do that. ctx.fill style, and then ctx.fill. And this is essentially now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tell it the portion of the screen to fill. So fill rect 0, 0, width, comma, height. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to fill the entire rectangle, and it's going to fill it with essentially black with a little bit of transparency. Yeah. Missed a 0 for the B. Oh, wait. 0, 0. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Yep. My bad. There we go. You got it. Yeah, because RGBA. Yeah, you're exactly right. Okay. All right. Now let's see what it looks like. Jazz 1992 PC game. Oh. All right. Now let's look at it again. It's gonna be different. Oh, looky there. What do we have now? We have balls. We have a black background now because that's what we did. We filled the window with black, and we filled the window with black, and we overwrote each frame, but left a little bit of transparency so you can still see the ghost of the previous frame, right? Because if I follow this ball with my mouse, I can see there's a little bit of a trail, right? It definitely looks better without adding that. Yeah, that was my thought too. I think it looks way cooler without the trail, without the clearing of the previous frames. But that's totally up to you. Maybe try 0.01. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Let's try it. All right, 0.01. Okay, 0.1. Yep. And then let's add some more balls. Let's have fun. We're gonna do 50. That's probably gonna be too much, but whatever. YOLO. YOLO. Okay. Okay. Okay, saved. And there we go. Ooh. Whoa. Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. I love it. Whoa, nice. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I actually like that, almost like that better. That's like, so you guys remember that one Windows 95 screensaver that was like the bouncing, like the wireframe squares? This is basically that, right? How did I get that? I set my, on my, where is it? On my loop function, I set the fill style right here, the fill style, to just 0.01 on the transparency. Oh, thanks, Leon. Yeah, this project is so fun to mess with. And I'm going to share it just real quick. I'm going to share with you guys again for the folks that are just new. This is an MDN project that we're doing, so you can build your own version. So I'm going to share the link in chat here again. And I want to see on Twitter, I want to see what y'all do with this. So tag me on Twitter when you guys make your own version and like show me what y'all do with it. There's the link. Enjoy. I think that's the right link. I'm going to double check. Yeah, let's bounce some balls. That's it. What do you look for to find the project? Honestly, I just Googled JavaScript objects practice, and this came right up. So, I mean, sometimes when I'm doing my streams and I don't know what I want to build, I will just Google like the topic that we learned in class and say like, JavaScript whatever practice, and there's generally tons of practice out there. Yeah. Yeah, do it, memes. Absolutely. Add some random value. Well, we could. I mean, it could be like, well, I don't know. What do I put in a random? Because this is inside of a string, right? So like we're declaring this is a string. So I guess I would have to do it like as with the ticks, right? I'd have to do like tick, random, whatever. And I would probably do. So maybe I could do like, I don't know. Let's see. Do this. And could I do this work? So I'd probably just do math.random for this because I want a number between 0 and 1, right? So math.random, and that, I don't know. We'll see if this works. And I need a tick at the end. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. This might be weird, but worth a shot. Oops, sorry. Get to see Catra there for a minute. She-Ra, best show on Netflix. Okay, so it looks like we got a pretty high number there for the transparency. Let's try it again. Okay, yeah, look, so we got a little bit more of a trail there. So it is working. It's generating random numbers. Maybe. Yeah, I'm seeing. Okay, yeah, look at that. Look at that. We got like sputtering trails. That is so cool because each time it loops, each time it runs through and draws a new frame, it's it's setting a random transparency for the trails. So that's actually kind of cool. They look like little flaming balls. They're on fire. That's so cool. That was a good idea. Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's think about what else we can do. Oh yeah, we need to add collision detection. Let's not forget about that. So I'm going to set this back to a regular number for now because I really like that 0.0.0.01. I really like that, how that looks, personal preference. But that random thing was fun. Whoa, indeed. I feel like there's that Owen Wilson, like, just like, whoa, right? Like him, just that's how I feel looking at this. Um, and Jim, thank you for that explanation. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great explanation, Jim. So when we set it to 0.01, by setting the transparency of the wipe so low, it takes 100 frames to finish erasing the ball trail. Yeah, it's awesome. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely get crazy with that with the transparency. Yeah. Okay, let's add some collision detection to this. So when a ball collides with another one, I want it to basically flash. I want it to change color when it collides with another one. We're gonna get really psychedelic in here. You thought this was trippy. We are gonna get even more trippy. Yes, because we can. Um, okay, so we're gonna go back up into our balls class. This is gonna be a method in our balls class, so I need to make sure I get it in the right place. I want it to be here. And then, all right, ideas coming in. Darn right. Yeah. Like that's why, get that link, grab that link out of the chat, get this bad boy into your VS Code and just go nuts. So I'm going to call this collision detect. And two, like if you just, it's great practice if you have the time to type the code out yourself. But they do have a GitHub. You can just grab it from GitHub if you don't have the time to do this yourself. And then you can start modifying it there. Up to you. Probably better practice to type it out and think about what it's doing. But again, up to you. So we're going to loop around and we're going to say for each ball in the array. So in order to do that, we're going to loop through our array and we're going to say for const ball of balls, we are going to, essentially we want to see if the ball that we are currently on is colliding with any other ball in the array. Now, let me pause here for a second. This collision detect, even in the MDN tutorial, it's like you may not understand everything that's happening here. Just put it in. So this one's kind of complicated. So don't fret if you're not like fully up on this one. That's why I did it last, because you really don't need it. It's just a little extra sugar. So this isn't entirely necessary. We're just doing it because I want a fancy color change. So for each ball in our array, if um, if we are colliding with another ball, so essentially if the ball that we are currently constructing is colliding with any other ball in the array, so let's see, if this ball Then we're going to do some, essentially we're going to do some distance calculations, and it's going to get a little wild. So I'm just going to kind of type this out, and then we're going to run it, and we're going to see what happens. This is a for loop, a for of loop. So if you can look that up. Rascal, can you share that link to the MDN on for of loops again? That's all we're doing. Dx this x. If somebody who's mathy can explain what's going to happen here, that would be much appreciated. What we're doing, but const. This is the only part of this I was like, I don't know that I can reliably explain this, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm doing it live. This dot y minus this dot y minus ball dot y, and then the last thing we're doing is const. Now we're doing, so we're getting the dx and the dy, and then the last thing we're doing is we're doing a distance calculation. Const distance equals math dots. We're taking the square root. We're doing something. I don't know, something mathy. Square root distance calculation. Oh, distance calculation to see if they're close enough to be colliding. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, dx times, oops, that's wrong. Hang on. Dx times dx plus dy times dy. Okay. And then we're doing a bunch of that stuff. They are checking to see, oh my gosh, we're doing trigonometry. Oh, jeepers. Oh, boy. They're checking. I was told that when I got into programming, the computer would do the math for me. I'm just kidding. I know that you need math sometimes. Oh, big maths. Yes, maths indeed. Yes. All right. So doing some distance calculations there, and so essentially what we're doing is, we're calculating a distance value, and essentially then we're saying if distance is less than this dot size plus ball dot size, then we are going to make the ball, essentially while the ball is colliding with another ball. So I can tell you what's going to happen is, so while the ball is colliding with another ball, it's going to randomly change colors every single frame. So it's going to flicker through a bunch of colors, and it'll probably end up on a different color when it's done passing through the other ball. So we're setting the ball color, and the ball. So we're setting, both balls are colliding. They're both going to flicker through random colors. So we're going to call random RGB. And they're going to flicker through random colors until they're done passing through each other. So let's see what happens there. And people are giving wonderful, Jim, you're just math flexing. Flexosaurus. Jim is the T-Rex on the skateboard with the sunglasses and the baseball cap that was on my lunchbox in first grade. The rad T-Rex. And that's a good thing. That's a compliment. You want to be the rad T-Rex, the Flex Rex. All right, so we're going to save this. Now we're going to see what happens, what changes there. I know 1 + 1, so you're somewhat an expert. Heck, yeah. Little maths. All right. Let's see. Hang on. Did I save? I don't think I saved. Oh, I did save. Where did I mess up? I missed something somewhere, I'm sure. Oh, I know what I did. So I declared this new method, right? I declared collision detect, but in order for it to work, I actually need to call it. So we need to call ball dot collision detect. Yeah, exactly. Dervis, you're right. Yep. Needed to add it to the loop. So that way, every time we draw a new frame, it's going to run. So every time we draw a new frame, right, it's going to loop through all the balls in the array, and it's going to call all of these methods. It's going to call draw to draw the ball, update to update its position, and collision detect to see if it's currently intersecting with another ball. And if it is intersecting with another ball on the canvas, it's going to flicker through the colors. Essentially, it's going to change the color of the ball. That's all it's doing. And we could probably do something like that for like size and stuff too. Here's another idea. If you want to, you could also build another method that does the same thing with size. That would be kind of wild, right? If the balls, like as balls are colliding, if they just like randomly change size, that would be pretty crazy. That might be fun. Somebody do that. You don't have to if you don't want to. Oh, there we go. Woo! Getting wilder. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So you can see each time the balls collide with each other, they both flicker through the spectrum until they stop colliding, in which case they stay with the last color that they flickered through. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to this. So basically, we're done with the code. Um, how does the function? So how does the well, essentially, what we're doing is we're not actually calling our we're not actually calling our collision detect method. We're not actually calling that until all the way down here. Yeah, and the objects are constructed from the class. Yeah, we're not actually doing the calls until all the way down here at the bottom. Last thing. Yeah, play with yeah. Okay, I'm clicking on your link, Dakota. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's wild. Look at that. Yikes. That's a lot of random. Whoa. I dig it. I dig it. My eyes, yeah. Oh man, I don't feel like I can look at that one for very long. I mean, in a good way. It's super trippy. Fireworks, yeah. Well, I think somebody said earlier that they were like, they never knew how easy the Windows 95 developers had it when they were coding this stuff. Well, keep in mind, I mean, they probably didn't have they didn't have the level of like built-in APIs and stuff that we have today. They probably had to do it all by hand, all these mathematical calculations and everything. Yeah. Back in my day, we did things with slide rules. Okay, so I think that's really about it. I think that's the essence of it. You're welcome to to mess around with the various properties. I mean, we could change the sizes. You can I mean you could probably make the background fill be random because I mean the background fill is it's right here. So you could substitute any of these values with random. I'm not going to do that because I feel like you might get you might get like a strobe effect there, and I don't want to make anyone have difficulties who has difficulty with flashing lights. So I'm not going to do that, but you can try that certainly. Yeah, it'll be a strobe. So I'm not going to do that. Back in my day, you flipped through a book of colored post-it notes to simulate synesthesia. Yeah. Use the slide rule. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's how they did it back in the Apollo days. You ever seen Apollo 13? They were using slide rules to get us to the moon, or try to. Not in this case, but not in Apollo 13 case, but most cases. But yeah, you could try. You can mess around with putting random in replacement for these values, like we did before. And so yeah, I changed the size here, so that will make some bigger balls. Whoa. So they're going to collide more often, so you get more of a flicker effect. I'm not going to leave this up for too long; it's kind of flashy, but I feel like that looks pretty cool. My laptop's going, oh my god. All right, last YOLO that we're going to do. I want to have 250 balls. I'm going to make the size a little bit smaller so they're not just like constantly colliding. We're going to do like 5 and 15. Yeah. Okay. Woo! Yeah. I feel like these celebratory fireworks are a pretty good place to start. I love the one ball at the top that's just going back and forth at the very top of the screen. Ending the stream one way or another. Yeah. Yeah. And so okay, look, this is an interesting phenomenon. So if you look at the balls, you can kind of see that occasionally there's a little bit there's almost like gaps in the canvas where there's a lot of the balls are in one corner and then they all go up and hit another corner, like they're at the top of the screen there, and then they are, you know, they had, and that's because of the choice that I made as far as the velocity. This was just kind of interesting. So remember, for the velocity x and the velocity y, I didn't allow it to be negative. So they're all going to start out with a positive velocity. So they're all going to be heading in a similar direction. So you can make this be negative if you want. So you can set it at like -4. And then you get a more true randomness in the direction that they go. So that's why they're kind of heading this. So now you get much more random movement. But you can also get some balls that are going literally like not moving at all, or like here right up. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's hard to see with the can't even tell where my mouse is. Kind of right there and toward the top right, there's one ball that's not moving at all because it has a velocity of 0. They're flocking. They're flocking Jurassic Park. Yeah. Hey, Ismail. Yeah, welcome. We are just about wrapping up, but I will share the code with you. And it's an MDN project, so you can make your own version. And I would highly suggest coding your own version. Oh, thank you, BSL. Yeah, so BSL just shared it. So go there, code that, and then mess with the parameters so you can get cool effects like what I have on my screen right now. I modified the code here for this in order to make it do cool stuff. So play around with it. We will never get the satisfaction of a ball going exactly in the corner like that one old screensaver. Oh, I mean, it's I'm looking at the corners. It's pretty close. No, I think that's just an artifact. As they collide, they slow down. No. Oh, I see. You're saying you want to do that. Yeah, you could build something in for velocity, in our little collision detector thingy. You could mess with this to add more features, because I mean, right now we're really just saying, generate random colors, but you could say like for each frame, you could say something like for each right now this is saying like for each, while the balls are overlapping, you could say like ball dot velocity x minus 0.01 or something, and like slow it down just a teeny tiny bit for each while the balls are colliding. You could do that. Sasha, yeah. So Sasha, just click the link. Click the link that BSL just shared just a little bit above your comment. Grab that and you can code it yourself. There's a link to their GitHub where you can just copy the whole code or compare it against yours. So just grab the link from BSL's post just a little bit above your comment there, Sasha. Yeah. Or speed them up. Yeah, you could add like 0.01 to the velocity while they're colliding. Yeah, BSL just shared it again, so you can grab it there. Yeah, okay. Any more questions from anyone? Like I say, we're basically done. But I think this is a really fun one to mess around with. So, ooh, monochrome. Yeah, you can make a monochrome. Yeah. You can make a canvas that responds with your cursor. Yeah, totally. Hey guys, what are we building? Oh, let me show you, Tyler. All right. We just built that. We built a retro Windows 95 style screensaver animation. Drink in the beauty. We built it with JavaScript too. Yeah, Tyler. We built in the JavaScript. We built it with JavaScript and just using the built-in Canvas API to draw the animations. Yep. Okay, bye, Silent. Yep. Thanks for coming. And Tyler, if you want the code, just scroll up a little bit. There's a post by BSL that they posted. It's an MDN project, so you can build it yourself if you want. Just click on the link that BSL posted, and you can grab it. Yes, yeah. Glad you enjoyed it, Akai. Yeah. All right. Well, about to wrap up. Anybody have any more questions? I'm just going to leave this beautiful thing on screen for a little while longer. And actually, you know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? I prefer it. I'm gonna be a purist here, and I am going to take off the frame wipe entirely. I want it to be back to the pipes, to the Windows 95 style pipes. Yeah, let's get wild. There we go. Even better. Leon and I are probably gonna have a discussion on that at some point. Yeah. I'm glad you guys had fun. That was my goal for tonight. I just wanted to be fun, and I wanted to show you the practical application of some of the stuff that we have been learning in class. Because, sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, oh well, yeah, sure, constructors are great, but what can I actually use it for? What is it for? Well, it's for this. It's for building Windows 95 screensavers, doing animations. Next up, lava lamp screensaver. Ooh. Yeah, I'm glad y'all had fun. Yeah. Are we doing a raid? Oh, we can. I'm probably gonna sign off, but I can. Does anybody have any suggestions on who to raid? I've never done a raid before. I can. There's a button for it. I can click the raid button. Hang on. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm happy to raid someone, as long as they're appropriate. Sorry, oops. Bye. Oh yeah, if you do recreate this, tag me on Twitter, please, at @MayanWolf. Do !Twitter in the chat if you want to see my Twitter handle. It's literally MayanWolf, but bang Twitter if you need it. Something called Time Enjoyed. Oh, sweet. Ooh, okay. Learning Python has a budgie. I'm sold. Okay. Time Enjoyed. All right. Hang on. Yep. So follow me on Twitter and please tag me with your creations. I want to see them. Tag me. All right. Time Enjoyed. Okay, hang on. Time Enjoyed. Oh, I see him. Okay. So I'm going to start the raid in a minute. But I appreciate you all, and thank you for coming. And I will see you again on Sunday. So join me on Sunday. Watch my Twitter for updates. Join me on Sunday at 6:30. All right. Raid starting now. I guess, sorry, 10 seconds. There's a countdown. Bye.
are my budgies? Let me turn on my light real quick and I'll be right back. Okay. I turned on the lights for my chat. Florence, hello. Right? Friendly raid. I appreciate it, Coder Mel. Your name looks kind of familiar. Agonaut, hello. Full circle. Have you guys seen my birds? I have two, Momo and Jarvie, in the cam, but they're not really there. A tarot reader. Yes, I do tarot readings. Okay, I don't like my hair right now, but I'm gonna show my face to you guys. How do I do this? I just set up, oh my god. Hi! I just set up this budgie avatar and it is super cute. Made by Simon Red. Hello. I am Esther from Cali and I watercolor budgies mainly, but I've been learning to code Python. Thank you. Yes, verb. Oh, there's Momo and Jarvie right there. Okay, hold on. Mayan. Sub budgies, say hi. Gym of Leisure, hey. Sorry if I missed things in chat. I'm very sorry. A lot going on. One of my chat members suggested, who? Was it Jim? Who suggested me? Oh, I super appreciate that. Thank you for the follow, everyone. Zier BSLGZ. So, Ryan Hawkins, thank you. You're in data work? Well, you're on the front page of Twitch. Owls? How did that? Hello, Tyler. I figured you're a good stream for this crowd. Gym of Leisure, was it you? Gym of Leisure's the sweetest. I met Gym of Leisure through, I think, Nova Lima in the game dev category. Aw, you're the kindest. I would shout you out, but you don't stream. Let me give you a shout out though. Mayan. I am totally putting on a performance. All too swift. Hello, cool cat. You were playing software in game dev. Thank you for the follow, Codermill. I appreciate it. Crystal Arena. Thank you. How are you guys doing? What did you do in your stream? How long did it go for? You just said budgie cam and they needed no convincing. This is Momo and Jarvie, my two loves, right here. They're drinking out of their bowl that has some lettuce and water. They don't know how to take baths yet, unfortunately. Aw, thanks for the follow, Mindwolf. I appreciate it. We are friends to birds. Yes. Someone back we rated, you were streaming with during some sort of data challenge. Oh, yeah. I co-hosted a data visualization contest with Nick One Datasci. Shout out to him. But it was the last season finale that we just did. I don't know where he is. He's probably not in here. Oh, he is. She was coasting. Yeah, the Viz Buzz. It was the second Viz Buzz. And it's been very fun. I'm learning a lot. You are with Learn with Leon? Wait, no. Today is Wednesday. Learn with Leon. Oh, wait. I know Jim is with Learn with Leon. Who else is with Learn with Leon? Ghibli is with Learn with Leon. I've met quite a few of you. Oh, Nick got rated by Learn with Leon. A fair bit of this group traces back to Learn with Leon. We keep secondary, tertiary, and quant. I know. It's so awesome. Extra streams this week from his stream team. Oh shoot, he streamed today? And I did, there's a quad raid going on? How many raids did you guys go through? Were you doing student streams? Aww, thanks for the follow, Intel Gen Z. Okay, so I was just talking to someone, and Learn with Leon, you guys are doing some we're like, I'm learning Python. I'm going through the Python crash course, and I just learned classes, child classes, oh my god, it goes into something else. Oh, so then I started trying to learn how to make a tarot program with those two things that I learned. And I guess in Learn with Leon, you guys are learning JavaScript and web dev, and then you guys will touch base on Python a bit. But you guys were also learning classes around the same time I was learning classes, and I think you guys are doing API stuff now. And then third, when did his stream end? What time zone is Learn with Leon in? Full stack web dev. We're focusing on JavaScript. Okay. Cool. Just getting started on APIs this week. UTC 4. Eastern. Okay. Oh, that is pretty late. So I'm in Pacific. It's 7 for me, so it must have been 10 for Leon. Oh, wait, it was like a third raid though. Oh, six. Oh, gotcha. I see. Well, I've been a big beneficiary of Leon's raids. Leon is a pretty rad guy. Yeah, I think I just started learning Python as he was streaming. But do you want a tarot reading, Mayan? I appreciate your reading, and I'm working on tarot bot. The bot is not ready. This is the page. Wait, actually, what did you work on? And how long have you been streaming? And what language do you use? Tell me about yourself. This is the program. My name is not Lisa, but I'm testing it out here. So I have an index page that I'm gonna put in a first name. I put in a number of cards, and it should run. Oops, I was in the debug tool. And it should tell me like, I selected 3 cards. My random cards are like 5, 7, and 0 out of 8. So that's what is working on here. You do want a tarot reading. Okay, I have options for you. Safety vest. Thank you for the follow. You're a new streamer. Started streaming back in February. Whoa, that's when I started learning Python, focusing on materials that we are learning in class. Awesome. Oh my god. Good on you. Good on you. Taking initiative, learning. The coding, software, and game dev category is so little. Super tiny. Hyperfix. Ink hello. I have choices. Okay. Okay, let me go to my, let's go to my tarot reading screen. So, I have the Mystic Monday deck, and then I have the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite is more traditional. Oh my god, please don't tell me there's reversed. Please tell me I shuffled them correctly. Anyway, I don't read reversals, so if some cards are upside down, do try to ignore it. Dream tech up. Yes. A tarot reading for this generous raid. Need to follow more coding streams. Kind of get into coding. Right. Wait, Techie, you just started, right? You're gonna start a going through some Python exercises. Don't forget about Smith. Smith? What? I don't think I know Smith. Polynimity. Okay, so you can have a vibe check or... Oh, Smith equals alternate tarot. He's the artist who makes designs on the deck. Oh, interesting. There are so many different designs. Would be fun to make a design one day. Whoa, 1912? Oh, she's the one. Wait, is she? Oh my god. You're right. How do you guys already know this? Pamela Coleman Smith. Gotcha. So yeah, writer, wait, and Paula Coleman Smith. Junior My Huber. Thank you for the follow. Never done tarot before. Okay, so 2 types of readings. there are vibe checks where I basically just, you know, tell you how you're feeling right now, what's going on right now with you at this very moment. And then there's also a question where you can ask a question, usually open-ended, usually to lead to a result. So it would be like, what can I do to improve the situation? What can I do to feel better? Or like, what's the next step I should take? Or how should I approach this? I also do relationship spreads. Um, but I'm not good at them. If you wanted one of those, you need to give me like initials. Just out of tradition. You're a very hardcore tarot nerd. Very hyped to see more people getting into it. Nice. It's interesting. I'm surprised at like how many people in the software game dev world are interested in tarot readings. You want a vibe check? Okay. So we have. Do you want? I guess blue deck or black deck. The system I'm into right now is New World Tarot by Christy something, but also found the Creative Tarot super useful as a learning tool. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my stream refs, cause I just cannot keep up in my brain. Is a little bit wonky right now. I just did an 8-hour stream. See. There's a lot of thinking. But thank you. Oh yeah, and I do have a Discord. I'm gonna just go ahead and do a quick shout out to my own Discord. Feel free to join. We have coders in there sharing their code. We have artists in there sharing their art. Potential movie nights. Myers-Briggs personality tests. I think you're my compiler. My life wouldn't start without you. Black deck looks cooler. Okay, we'll do. We'll do the black. Tarot's fake. Astrology is real. It's all for fun, y'all. I've always managed to get the same card when drawing just one. The Devil. That's an interesting card to get all the time. There are cards that like follow people around sometimes. What's my MBTI? I feel like I should ask for guesses before telling y'all straight off the bat. I've bunches. Yeah, you're in love. I love them too. They're my fave. Astrologers are trumps. I pick one birthday. Oh, wait. Pure Sizzle. I know Pure Sizzle's fake. ESFP. Okay, yeah, people have generally guessed E something FP, but I am an ISFP. What is your all's personality types? If you have a personality type and you know it, add it as a role on my Discord role so I can keep track. INFP is the best. INTJ and INTP. Okay, you guys, this is fascinating. Okay, I used to stream in the art category in watercolors. Oh wait, let me just plug. I can't plug my watercolors right now. It's a little bit out of the way. But in the art channels, it's filled with INFPs and INFJs. And I think when I started coding, I met a lot more INTJs and INTPs. Oh, you know Will? You know personality. Okay, hold on. I need to clear the energy and give Mayan Wolf a vibe check. So clearing the energy here. Clearing the energy. Let it flow away. Flow, flow. Okay. Mayan Wolf. Slower vibes. Okay. I would like a pop out for Mayan Wolf for a vibe check. What is Mayan Wolf's vibes? What? That was, I mean, I'm gonna kind of like take that, but it didn't like flip. I want a nice clear pop out, please. Oh, that was so close too. God. Okay, that didn't flip either. Okay. You know what? I should have taken them sooner. These cards kind of like, they like oozed out of the deck. I wouldn't say they like popped out. Okay, here they are. I hope this doesn't turn into some Warhammer 40k nightmare. No. I don't know what that is. Big 5. Omega 9, TJ. If you guys like are interested, I do have the link to the test. It is quite long. It takes like 15 minutes to take. And a lot of the times the answer will be wrong. But this deck, it's delightful. You like the colors, right? Okay. I love the colors on your reading right now. I see this sort of like flow from pink to blue to purple. High Priestess is like someone who is super close to the subconscious, to their intuition, getting closer to understanding what's going on in the background. You're feeling like a High Priestess. Oh, it's just like, I think that's that slow, like cooling, like everything out there is moving super ultra fast, and you're just like, I'm gonna step back and be a little bit separated. 9 of Pentacles. In this card, it's a peacock with like all the colors, rich. Like this Monstera plant is like healthy. 9 of Pentacles. It's like the card right before the 10 of Pentacles. So your vibes are really good. Just like at the brink before, like, it's like a good, when I see 9, I do think of like potential energy, because the next card is 10. Would you like me to read one of these? I'd say you're like maybe basking in some sort of sunlight, some sort of a Monstera fan. You're pretty cool. Puts on sunglasses. Nice. Hello, it's Rufio. It's strange to see you on Twitch as a viewer, not a streamer. Oh, who else streams? If you do stream, you can tell me what you stream, what you're up to. Aw, Polydimity, thanks for the follow. I loved that reading for you. Very beautiful, very cool. Okay, yeah. Which one would you like more clarification on? This deck has its own little description book that I read from. Pentacles. Okay, sure. 9 of Pentacles. Let me go ahead and take a sip of water. You're so generous for the raid. So fun. It's a nice chill way to, like, I don't know, unwind. 9 of Pentacles. True colors, splendor, vitality. Pentacles is a suite of the material world. Usually it, could indicate like security, money, finances, a business. Indulge yourself, you deserve it. Your hard work is paying off, and you are now reaping the rewards. You feel at ease with your financial status, income, and schedule. Good, claim that. Live loud with luxury, allowing yourself to enjoy the abundance that you've created. It is now time to celebrate and treat yourself, whether it's buying that item you've had your eyes on or giving yourself time to rest. By staying true to yourself and your vision, you are improving the quality of your life. Show your true colors by saying yes to your independent spirit and the creations you are bringing forth into this world. Acknowledge your accomplishments and what it took for you to get to this place of fulfillment and satisfaction. Rich in inspiration, connect and replenish the inner beauty that you possess and provide in this world. That's non-reverse. A fallen hope. Oh man, that username. It reversed. It was reversed, so typically means opposite. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, there are reversal cards, and I don't know how to read reversals, so I've decided to just sort of pick up on. I don't know. I don't know how to read non reversals yet. So basically, when I do my shuffles and my readings, I set the intention for it to be a non reversal. That's why I don't. If I like set the intention to read reversals, that might be a little different. You don't have to distinguish between. Personally, I don't read reversals. Too much hassle to shuffle and memorize two more things. Yeah, like, and depending on the vibe that I get from someone and the question they're asking, or like the way that the cards are positioned. Like, let's say this card was I was doing a 4-card question and answer spread, and this was in the obstacle. Then I would read it differently. I'd be like, okay, this is your challenge. I then would semi like make it a reversal in my head. But that's just an explanation. Let me make sure I give you a follow, though, Mayan Wolf. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I've been feeling very welcome to the software game dev community. Derailed? Gotta get some sleep. Oh yeah, for sure, Mayan. Have a good one. I hope to catch your stream. See you around. I was... It was a long stream. Did a lot of learning with people with the support of chat on how to build a tarot thing, and I was just gonna I was like, I have nothing else I can do right now. I'm gonna raid someone, but then I got raided. So, of course, I appreciate that. Gonna leave the host going. Aw, thank you. Oh no, you didn't derail. All is good. Went ahead and downloaded the book. Yay! Just waiting to start it. Nova Liminal is on now? Oh. That is good to know. Hold on. Yeah, shall we then? Nova Liminal is part of a group of new game devs that I met. Same along with Leviathan, Errant, Eoxy, and a bunch of people in my chat have been doing game dev, which I think is super cool. I think would be fun to get into. You want to go into data science eventually? You wrote one in TypeScript, but then your laptop died. Aw. I don't know what TypeScript is. Is that a language? How long have I been learning Python? I started in February this year. Went through the Python crash course very slowly. There's this website called Data Camp. There's learnpython.org. I've been using Sublime and PyCharm. And then I picked up Flask in order to combine Python with some web stuff, which I basically learned from people who showed me. I have to give my chat credit all the time. Types JavaScript, best way of describing it. Gotcha. Well, how long have you been coding A Fallen Hope? Do you guys all have projects in mind? Do you guys all